What is happening with the world right now? What has been happening with the world for a very long time? Um, I bet you have looked more into edification though, because that's something that you're gonna hear uh, packaged in very many ways. You're going to hear a lot of people talk about meditation. You will hear a lot of people talking about looking more into the religion that you're practicing, looking more into your family matters, because in most cases, and this is in concatenation with what we're about to talk about. This is today we're going to be trying to discuss more about healing and unhealed, some of the ways or some of the reasons that we might find ourselves unhealed, and what is this unhealed thing that a lot of people are talking about nowadays. And by a lot of people, I mean you have to have a different platform that you are on. You have to take a step. That means you have to get away from the cycle, or from the circle, or from the drill, because when you walk in circles, you're making a drill, and if you do not change direction and you keep on walking in circles, you're gonna end up where you're going. We talked about this. If you are walking on a path of being a thief, if let's take it easier. If you're studying for exams, like I am in most cases with my thing that's going on. If you're studying for exams and that's the path you've chosen to take, to study for exams and to understand and to not neglect your books or your studies or your discussions or your learning per se, that means you have followed a path that is basically going to be a good path. In this case, it's going to be a positive cycle. You're going to end up with good grades if that's the case, But alternatively, if you are a thief and you're going down the path of being a thief, you're continuing to be a thief, you are not straying away from that, you are following that path per se, you're going to end up where you're going. Where I come from is going to be mob justice. Where I come from, thieves are stoned to death. So unhealed that without a trial, without concrete evidence, shall I say, someone will be killed on spot. I come from Uganda, if you're wondering. This is serious stuff. You can go ahead and look it up. You don't have to. Just take my word for it. So it's and I believe that Uganda is. I'm seeing a lot of similarities now that I have lived with some Americans. I've lived in the American culture for some time. I've seen a lot of similarities in the way Ugandans do their thing. I'm touching on unhealed in this subject. I'm going to touch on unhealed, but I'm bringing it back from my roots to where I am, to where I've been, to where presumably I'm going or something. But this is not at any one moment only having to do with me. In fact, this is such a very, very important, very underrated subject that needs to be unpacked with a lot of care, with a lot of expertise, and with a lot of talking, a lot of expression, because Without that, I believe, or I trust that without expression, a lot of it, especially to the right folks, to the right group, the right setting, you get the depression. So, in other words, without the expression, there's you are susceptible to be depressed. So you have to choose your audience well, though. It's such a big thing. You have to choose your audience well. So where I come from, there's a lot of unhealed folks. There's a lot of religion that was brought on. Of course, you know about the partition of Africa, which was brought on. This was in the late 19th century. It was brought on by the Europeans, or Europeans, whatever you want to call it. Of course, by way of initially by way of force. A lot of Africans do not know this, but what happened was that in the 1881 or 1880s or something like that, not so many years ago. So Africa was Africa. Africa was being, the indigenous people were there, and then these white people, all these Europeans, decided to sit down and saw exactly how lucrative this part of the world was going to be. They were prudent about that in a very malicious way. So what they did was to go back in their offices, tiny offices, say, hey, you're going to have this piece, you're going to have that piece, you're going to have this piece. That's why we have the colonies, and that's why we have the independences. The independence days are basically they're a slap in the face, if you ask me. Slap in the face, because we're not independent one bit. There is no way the people that grabbed the land, the way they did it and the way they're still doing it, there is no independence there. That's just a facade that citizens or voters get to speak of in pride of their country, and especially the people who are who are very patriotic to the cause of their state. So yeah, that happened, and this from here, I believe, is where Africa was done wrong. And I like so much to go into Africa because there is a lot to touch on, only just as a continent, before you even jump overseas and go to Europe and break Europe down. So after partitioning it, colonies, England taking whatever, the eastern part of it, with German, who later gave it away, who later, they took it away from them because they caused the Second World War, and all that good stuff, that you want to go into. This bred a lot of trauma, like from their own right there. There was a lot of trauma that came with this petitioning, and this is not because these Europeans have treaties in place that the cocoa we are producing, for example, in Ivory Coast, the cocoa that's making all the coffee and whatnot, is going to be given mostly to the Belgian economy, or let's say the minerals obtained from the Congo, or the dams that were built for other nations to provide power to other nations within, the neighboring countries. A lot of all these treaties that were signed, some of them bogus, some of them bogus treaties, by the way. And with all the money they're taking, the exports, the oils and whatnot, that's not the unhealed part of it. What they did take, what they took away from Africa was the ancestry part of it. That part of us that acknowledges our ancestors, that takes us back to the divine, that helps us heal. The entities that mean us well. What should I call it? The ghosts. You can even call it the ghosts, because we all know that we all have energy in us, and this energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So if someone was in your family and they passed away, chances are the energy is still right next to you. Chances are. And most people see these energies in dreams, in meditations, if they really want to do the work. So where does unhealed come in? If someone takes away that part of you where you do not want to listen, or where you're not given the privilege to listen to the people that lived before you, the people that might mean you well, if someone takes that away from you, you're going to be traumatized. Trauma is going to be a big issue your way. Like, you're going to have to deal with a lot of that. See, when you break down what happened in, let's say, America in the 80s, I think the 80s, when they were fighting the whole, when the whole I think was around, when the hippie phases, were there, around in the 80s, I think. That's like 30, let's say 35 years ago. If we go down that path, and you see exactly how America was like, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can vouch for that, because you lived, especially the millennials. I touch on the millennials a lot because they are literally right now in this Aquarius time. They are literally the ones in between the generations that are going to change the world or the future. And that was the boomers and the X's. We are in between that. Our parents are either boomers or X's. In these two categories, they had it rough in most of the countries. I'm talking about a time like this right now. This, like, you can't even imagine, like, right now, this is the perfect time for a woman to exist, and yet it's not the case. I guarantee you it's not the case, But America, what it was 35 years ago, is what Africa, most part of Africa is right now. At least I'll speak of Uganda. It's where you're going to find a lot of people giving birth aimlessly and thinking that the community is going to take care of their kids. Oh yeah, go to your next door neighbor and have lunch there, because I'm going to be stuck in traffic. I'm going to be stuck at work. Oh, go to your friend's mom and stay there, just chill for a minute. Oh yeah, take them to the park. Oh yeah, babysit here, babysit there. I got a career to go to. I got this, I got that going around, which is legit, but there's a slippery slope there. This is where unhealed comes from. We are not unhealed because the Europeans are still taking resources from our countries. Okay, that will be another topic. But we are unhealed because our parents, that generation, or the teachers that were supposed to teach them, or the leaders at that time, failed them miserably. They encouraged a lot of beating, of kids. Yeah, in America right now, I think it's hard to just spank kids left and right. 35 years ago, that was not the problem. Nah, men were beating women, wives, kids, left, right, center. And I mean, in some place, I don't want to speak for all. In some places, it's still happening. But once you're caught, I mean, if there's going to be hell to pay in most cases. You might lose your kids, or there's something, there's been a lot of reform into that. So that is still going on where I come from, that is still going on in the schools that I went to. I got an opportunity to study from there. In the schools that I went to a boarding school. It was worse. It was worse. It was a Catholic boarding school. Yeah, when you know. If you've been to one of those, either as a girl or as a boy, it's not good, especially when you're young. So I went there when I was the age of 6, shall I say, 6, 7. And you get nightmares. They still come at you and whatnot, all that shit, funny stuff. You get nightmares, but of course you learn to deal with it over the time, because again, those are the stages in life you have to go through. And if you do not get to a stage where you get to know exactly that you're in pain, and you get to know that you gotta get past that pain, that's the healing I'm talking about. A lot of people do not get this opportunity. So you can break down the whole way of understanding yourself and understanding your worth and pay and whatnot, and it does not help that you have to deal with all that baggage growing up. So the neglect that I'm talking about, this neglect that was bestowed, this neglect that a lot of Gen X's and Gen X's and Gen Y's, the millennials, and probably some of the Gen Z's that are getting, because their millennial parents are still not into the phase of healing. This is what we're trying to talk about today. This is basically the beat and end all to everything. This is where transformation comes in. We have a lot of healing going around that we need to share, and we need to talk about this. There's a lot of negativity that you just have to breathe out. It's in you. It's embedded in you. As a millennial, what is it that you face as a Gen Xers? Gen Xers have a lot to say. They were so unhealed because their parents, the people that were born in the 70s, in the 50s, and the 60s, those people, very few of them can be held accountable. And I'm going to say this with chest, very few of them think that growth is in the amount of times they are able to sing happy birthday for you, the people that you raised and whatnot, reaching to the age of 60s and 70s, let's say even 80s and all that. These people, they are so stuck in their ways that They don't want to learn the new ways that people talk, the new ways that medicine is administered, the new ways that, for example, new studies on no, groundbreaking studies on subjects like or topics like the psilocybin or DMT, all that stuff. They do not want to talk about these things. All the research that has been put into place, they're still stuck in their obsolete ways. So these people are so susceptible to failing to be held accountable. These are the people that their careers were too important. They could not say a word to their bosses, of course. That's why they're still having all these funny haha moments where they're saying, oh yeah, Gen Zs don't want to work, millennials don't want to work, blah 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 don't want to work. And the whole reason about that's why we had the great resignation in the COVID times. A lot of people, a lot of young adults said no to most of these things. They say no to working in the offices when it was perfectly okay to work at home. So they advocated for that. And the more you advocate, the more you open up. You know what they say? We millennials live with the mentality that a closed mouth can never be fed. We live with that kind of view that, listen, I'm going to ask even if they say no. There is nothing that's going to happen besides them saying no that's going to hurt me. So I might as well ask. So we are going to ask, can we work remote? Can we do this? Can I get this day off? Can I work instead of the 5 days? Can we get a 3-day week? Which, by the calculations, and some companies have actually integrated this, it does add up, because working 5 days a week, 8, 9, whatever hours, was a system that was put in place by some bureaucrats. I do not want to get into the bottom of that. We will stay here, but just to scratch the surface, it was put into place by these rich people. If you know, you know. If you know their names, you know their names. And this was basically them saying that this system we've set in place is not going to be for scientists. This is going to be for people who are going to be assembling, nodding their heads, if I say jump, you just say how high. Yeah, it was set in place for that. So it's not effective anymore. It's not effective anymore, given that we have a lot of assistance in a lot of we have a lot of tools now. We have, of course, the Windows. We have the of course, the AI. Of course, we're going to the AGI now. And it was literally started that you do not need to work 5 days a week to make the work that you were making. And you literally don't have to do that. Not every job, at least, has to do that. So we, the millennials, and some Gen Xers that have done the work, stood up, and of course Gen Zs had to follow, because they're the kids. They're our kids. They're both the Gen Xers and the millennials kids, and they had to follow suit. They, oh, okay, we're not good. We what happened to just not working and just earning and just being and this and that. And these are the questions they're raising to their governments, to their leaders, in colleges and this and that, talking about this in discussions. And the professors, they are none the wiser. They have no idea. The answers that we're getting back are, well, it was how it was when we did this. Like, I'm sorry, I've never had of a very dumb, that is a slap in the face response. If someone asks you, why is this like this? Why can't we change it? Why are we still beating? Like, for instance, the Ugandan thing, if I'm to take it back, they're so unhealed. The people in charge of these schools are so unhealed that they cannot see how inefficient it is to hit a kid at school with the reason of they have to learn. It has never worked. What you are breeding is someone who's going to fear you and someone who's going to be traumatized. And that person will speak about this in the future. This person is going to want to heal whatever you are exposing them to. So we have a bunch of these people, dogmatic way of thinking, backward, shall I say, and they cannot see that this has to be reformed. These are the people in charge. These are the people who are unhealed. And if I ask you right now that, okay, you have a son, daughter, who is 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll spread it to 10. And you grew up or you went to school where beating was the norm. Like whooping, Catholic schools, nuns, this. They do that for fun. They use like these weird tools. Sometimes they use canes. Other times they use some, rulers, shall I say, geometric rulers. And other times they just use their hands to smack people. And if I was to ask you to whatever you took, the whooping that you took as a person, if you ever were in an unfortunate situation that you took whoopings, if I was to ask you, would you want your child to go through that? If you can sit there and you tell me that you want the best for your children and you want them to get that whooping, well, that goes to show you you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. You need to heal. You need to heal right now, because it's just like me telling you that, oh look, the reason why we had those planes back in the day, that the loud planes without the hash kits, was because we had so much good technology, but instead we are going with the very loud aeroplanes, the obsolete system. That was not right. I'm sorry, all these planes were cancelled. Uganda Airlines was one of the first planes to not be allowed to land anywhere in Europe, I think, because it had a very, very loud engines. So you see where I'm going with this? It is what they call healing that you have to know, that you have to go through to even fathom and comprehend that there actually is a problem. It never works. It never works. Beating a child never works. It's just going to traumatize the kid forever and ever. And guess what? They will smile in front of your face, but they will always keep that shit up. They'll always know. If they're too young, in the future, they're going to do a psychedelic and that shit is going to pop up. They're going to know. So How much do you actually care? I mean, it's up to you. You know, the gender that the and also the whole concept that the lies that we keep on telling ourselves, that these are lies, by the way, before I even go any further. The women are supposed to be treated different because women, they kind of, they are more mature than boys and blah 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 blah. So yeah, I understand the pituitary glands of women's brains is a bit silent. It's gonna grow much quicker. I think studies have said that. If I'm wrong, just quote me that. But I think studies have actually said that. But there's a lot of BS that men are there's a lot of BS that men are allowed to get away with, so that's just so when we touch on what we touched on, for instance, when we bring it back to the people that were born in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, like, I'm sorry, we talked about women in 2024 having one of the best streak, like, they're supposed to be at peace because the women can drive in Saudi Arabia, women can do vote in some other places, this and that and this and that. They can become doctors in other places, but back in the day, women, unfortunately, in America, they couldn't divorce their husbands. Women back in the day could not open a bank account. Women could not buy their own houses without a husband signing off. All this nonsense, And if you think about it right now, if you have a grandmother, or if you know of a grandmother that you can sit down, especially in America, you can sit down and ask questions that how this was, how was it with granddad, all those 70 years ago, how did you guys hook up? I guarantee you that story is going to be interesting. Like, sometimes, unfortunately, it might be interesting in a very sad way. They were not allowed to divorce. So you just imagine that family, the drama, what? These men basically raped their wives. They had their wives every evening, like, wear some kind of outfit, to, like, in some kind of preparation just to be used. Like, this is serious shit. This is serious shit that we need to talk about. Imagine the amount of hate this young, and they were young. They were way, way younger than the men. They could be like 15 and the man could be like 20 or 25 or 17 years older. You know what I mean? A lot of them. It's still happening in Hollywood. I can break down a lot of couples. You will be surprised. It's still happening. Nobody's batting an eye. You know what I mean? I think Elvis Presley, who got married to a young, I don't even, there's a lot of that stuff here, like, but yeah, they were basically giving birth left and right. There is nothing unhealed as people not knowing the value of giving birth to children. Just, you are so unhealed to just give birth continuously to a child, another child, and you can't provide for them. You can't provide for them. And then you are the same people who are going to blame the government for doing things and whatnot, but not being able to provide for their people. Like what's happening in Florida right now. As we record right now, it's October 10th. There's like a hurricane coming, Milton or something is coming to Florida, and all these evacuation plans are out of the window. There's nothing. It's just embarrassing, It's so. This is the point we're trying to make here, that if you're gonna give birth to kids and you're not gonna plan for them, then I think it's just so wrong to the kids, But guess what? A lot of these women, I'm telling you right now, the majority of these women do not want to have these kids, especially your grandparents in this country. I don't know about most countries, of course. If anybody has more information to share, I'm open to hearing that, learning a few things about other culture. But this is dangerous. This is dangerous territory right here. We can go all day speaking about unhealed and how unhealed is actually causing a lot of effects. The reason why this world might end if since we have a lot of nukes in silos, the reason why this world might end is because people are so unhealed. Just imagine your grandmother having more than 5 kids, more than 12 kids. I think my wife, her great grandmother had like 20 kids or something. There is no way that wasn't rape. There is just no way that's what she wanted to do. I just don't believe that. I don't trust it one bit. I don't trust it. So women have been victims, and women have since they have that nurturing, and women they are the ones, because of their brain chemistry and what has been studied. This is backed up by a lot of scholarly peer-reviewed articles talking about how they are actually, their brains are designed to be the leaders, so this has been studied thoroughly. If you take the woman away from because a woman is going to give care to her children, but let's be real, she's just one person, and she's got like more than 5 kids, more than 4 kids and whatnot. This is going to cause problems. One person is about to be left neglected. They talk about the first child, second child, third child, fifth. I don't know how it goes. One person is about to be neglected. And that person who is neglected, who is left on the side, or those people who are not given as much care, as much airtime, or much parental love, what is that gonna amount to? They're gonna get a scar, and they're gonna need healing in the future. And this is the problem. They're going to need the healing, but they're not going to know that they need it. This is what we're trying to hint at. This person who was unhealed, who gave birth to 20 kids, these grannies that we're talking about, they are grannies now because they're in their 80s or 70s or whatever. They gave birth to kids, but they did not make friends with them. They are not friends with the majority of their kids. But do you know who they're friends with? The grandkids. That's why you have this thing going on that, grandkids can never be wrong in the grandmother's eyes. They'll always spoil them, this, that, bullshit, all that. That is all, again, this is my take on that. You have nowhere you have no stand or say on how I can raise my kid, or on how you will, on when and how and why you want to see my kid, or act all friendly. Because there is this thing that I want everybody to understand. If someone is not willing to grow and help you grow in this context of family dynamics, this is very, very keen right now. I want you to pay attention to this. There is power in family, but we don't know what family is. Family is loyalty. You can never take that away from me. Or you can never take that away from the word family. I don't care who says what. Family is loyalty. And that's the reason why organizations, entities like in the military, the Navy SEALs, the whatever brother in arms, they all call themselves family. Brother or sister, all that, the minorities and all that, that family, that solidarity that joins you, that loyalty. Because again, they lied to us about the whole saying that it is the biggest lie, by the way. It's one of the most underrated lies that I think the world needs to know about. This is goes without saying that blood is thicker than water. The biggest lie ever. If that's how you know the world is full of malicious people. For someone to change, to switch that word, that saying up to what it was, there is power in that statement. But if you know it in its entirety, it is the blood of a covenant. Now, a covenant, what is a covenant? We read the Bible. But in my view, my perspective, a covenant is something that is going to be made with someone that, in most cases, I don't know if you've seen the movies where they're going to cut themselves, my blood and your blood, we join it together. That's a covenant. That's a pact. Brothers in arms, in most cases. That's why I hint at the military. They normally do this. No man left behind kind of stuff. That you have my back, I have your back. You have my six, I have your six. All that good stuff. So this is what they meant. The blood of a covenant. The blood of someone. It doesn't have to be someone you were born with. It does not have to be someone that you were married with. No. It means the covenant, the pact that you've made with someone. It could be your partner. It could be your spouse, a significant other. It could be your friend. It could be your best friend. Or it could even be your parents. If you really have that good relation with your parents and your parents are healed. It could be your brothers and sisters. It doesn't matter. It has to be a covenant made out of loyalty. Not this nonsense of we shared a womb. We grew up in the same house together. Your dad is my dad. not that. So it is the blood of a covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. The water of the womb means the people that your family members. I'm going to call them relatives in this case. So family is royalty, or family is not royalty. That's in the whatever. So family is loyalty, and the water of a covenant is that those are your relatives. So the blood or the friend that you have met and have, talked to, and everything has clicked, they've helped you through a lot of turmoil. They have confided in you, and vice versa. You have given them, they have given back. They've listened and not heard. They know your ins and out. They got your back, in other words. That right there is your family. That right there is the covenant that you've made. That right there, in most cases, people marry their best friends, actually. I married mine. That right there is something. I just wish that sentence could just, hit everybody's I don't know, ears sometime. I just wish. But where was my point? So these grandparents thinking that they can come and not they think that they can come and love the grandkids and just not love the kid, or do some work or heal with the kid or try to explain things. I think this is wrong. I feel that how dare you? I feel like how dare you? You think you're just gonna walk by this stupid mess that you caused, the neglect that you gave me, the whooping that you beat me, and the nightmares where you threw me here left and right, the people that you brought into my life that did things to me, all these things, yada yada yada. You mentioned them. I've seen the movies. I get it. So I just no, and that's why I hinted at that. This generation is very sensitive, because these two generations, especially the boomers born in the 40s, 50s and whatnot, 60s, they are so unhealed because of what happened, the Great Depression, all those wars and whatnot. They're so unhealed, and they never take accountability. Just tell me one boomer who took accountability without healing. I'll wait. Never. You're lucky if you have one. So this is what I'm talking about, and this went on to spread to the Gen X's, their kids. These are the Gen X's that gave birth to us. Some of them. Some of our parents are boomers. I get it, but the Gen X's gave birth to some millennials that are close to the Gen Z realm, and these are the ones that are causing most of this problem. this problem that we're having today, that we're talking about, It is it's important to also note that, we need to have respect for one another. We need to have so for that, if we are going to have respect for these people, let me tell you a funny story that it is about respect. When I was a kid, I think I was 11. I think I was 11, a little bit 11 or something. I thought that they had indoctrinated in me that all adults are smart and they don't lie. They don't lie. Whatever they say, you just go with it. That's what they told me. So at one time, 11 o'clock, when I was 11, I realized fast that that was a lie. And lo and behold, that's when I started, just questioning these adults, so-called adults. I knew right there and then that they were not the smartest bunch, and I wasn't about to respect every adult that came my way. I said no right there and then. Bunch of liars, self-righteous, all that. So they were ordering us around the respect. None. There is no adult that respected a child where I grew up. No one. They didn't. It was slapping us left and right. There was never a time when we were able to say something to an adult and like we get away with it or whatnot, or somebody believe us or whatnot. If they believed you, they wasn't going to do anything to anybody. It was an adult. And this is what I'm talking about. A lot of these people talking about respect. If you think about it, people who are Gen Z and people who are Gen Xers, they demand that stupid, I call that the perfect word has escaped me. Airless. They just want that respect that they don't earn, and that respect that they do not reciprocate, which does not work like that. The universe does not work. The universe is yin yang, for crying out loud. You can call it you can call it the yin yang, you can call it the light and the darkness. It's everything has to give. The universe is give or receive and give. So if you're always receiving, it's just what will happen to a Benson underwater for some time. It will definitely fill up, and then it will pour out. So there has to be a mechanism. That's how the world works, and that is how ecosystem services work. Of course, we can have a surplus of things, a surplus of water, but water is water, rain is rain. Even if it's a surplus of it, it will go away. It will go away. Right now, before, the world was warmer, and then it became colder, and then there was more land, and now, of course, the globe is warming up, and now it's it's causing all these sea levels and whatnot, and that's just how it works. So this respect was never given to young kids, and this is what we're talking about. Grandparents not respecting the fathers of their grandkids, their children, or their whatever. They're not respecting that. you know, and but they want to go in their families, in their houses, and bring about all this, talk about all this. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Your father was this. Your mother was this. They did this. They did that. Blah 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 blah. Here's an album when your father was this. They have not done the work. You know, the kids are still healing. The kids are still in pain. The kids, you know, they were misdiagnosed, and they cannot, you know, be held accountable for that. They at one point didn't have food, clothes, friends, healthcare, this and that, you know, but nobody cared. But for some reason, they want to care about the grandkids, you know. I do not buy that. That's nonsense. That's nonsense that needs to stop, you know. So when we're asking for healing, or when people are asking to understand themselves, this is them asking to heal themselves. This is them asking for some kind of leeway out of the biggest lies to themselves, because you are living a lie. You are living a very big lie. You know, if you've not even worked on your healing, you don't know. I mean, if you have been assaulted, if you have had parents that, you know, were not there, if you had parents that were just there for financial reasons, you know, just to provide money and go and nothing else, and just, you know, you need to heal. You need to heal. Some can take a shrink. You can take a therapist. You can take all that. You can take the DMT. You know, now psilocybin is helping with depression. Is helping with healing. Of course, the number one is meditation, if you ask me. You know, so all this is soul food. All this is helping the soul grow, because always remember, the soul created the avatar to experience the dimension number 3. There is very many dimensions. At least now, science has caught of 11. They can speak of, you know. Our brains are so powerful, they can visit these dimensions. Of course, they can. These you can alter your states of consciousness, and all this can be done. So all this we're talking about is this is you as a God experiencing your own creation. So you had to create this avatar. You had to align with your parents. Of course, you chose your parents. You chose everything. You chose the people that are going to help you. You chose where to reincarnate. You chose who you're going to meet. You know. But you have a long ways to go. You have a lot of dimensions that you need to fulfill. You got a lot of traveling to do, especially when you're still on Earth. You know, some people just when they die, they are so unhealed that they create a hell for themselves, and even whatever you believe in, even if it's a purgatory, that's hell, because you're in a loop. So a lot of people have created this, and this hell, whereby they have the power to end it in just a heartbeat, or in just a snap of a finger, you know. And that shows you how a lot of people do not feel worthy, you know. A lot of people don't feel worthy of where they are going. Where you're going is where you are coming from. That's, you just stopped by Earth for a second or two, you know, and you are going back to this place of love. It's called the place of love. A lot of people call a lot of people call it heaven, but it's just the place of love. It's the source of consciousness. It's the source that began all. It's the energy that is called God. It is where nobody judges you but yourself. Just to show you that you are a God, because everybody's going to judge themselves. And this is the commonest thing I've seen in a majority of all these near-death experiences, where everybody goes, there's never any mention of anybody judging anybody but individually. You know, they are the ones who feel the pain of the people that they hurt. We are the ones who are going to feel if you ever broke a leaf or a plant or whatnot. You're going to feel that pain. You're going to know. Or if you ever did any good thing that you didn't even know, like it was good, you're just going to feel that joy. So you're going to see how much your soul has picked up for this celestial library, you know. And a lot of these things that you have done in other lives will come back to you as well. You know, you will see yourself as the actor of this movie. You will see yourself, you probably were a white person in Italy back in the AD. You probably were an Australian person. You probably were one of the Aboriginals. You probably were in the Amazon. You probably were in the times of Yeshua, who most called Jesus. You probably were there, contemporary with Julius Caesar. You probably were contemporary with Shakespeare. You probably were in the time of Hitler. You probably were one of the unfortunate Jews that were killed by the Nazi. So you see how, by knowing all these things, you're healing slowly by slowly. You're seeing the picture. You're adding things up. There is all you have to do is get out of that depression state. When someone talks about healing, and this is purely, listen, you can go and do your research, and for crying out loud, teach me a thing. Teach people things. Just help out the world. You know what I mean? Because once you open your mind to these things, you never look back. Once you go esoteric, I keep on telling people, once you go esoteric and you go down the critical thinking part of everything in this world, everything becomes a conspiracy theory until it's not. In most cases, it is not a conspiracy theory, because you will be surprised the amount of empirical evidence that's out there that's been suppressed, and it's very dangerous to come by. But we are still living in a time where communication is still free, and we're learning a lot from a lot of people from different borders, and we're seeing a lot of things. And we are now noticing that family should be loyalty. We definitely have to touch on that. Family is supposed to be loyalty. The person who is not loyal to you is not your family member. If they happen to be, if they happen to share some kind of blood or DNA with you, those are relatives. They're not family. Family is a very sacred word. It's a big term. It's a very vital word. It's or term. It should not be used lightly. There's very few family members that you have in life. You might even have one or two. Your kids might not be family. Your significant other might not be your family member. Even the people that you call relatives and whatnot, you might not even have a singlest family member in one of them. Because nobody's loyal to you. And you might be the problem. You might be the problem, or they might be the problem. The thing is, are you at peace with yourself? Are you comfortable with this? And are you being true to yourself? Does it feel comfortable what you're doing? You also have to have the friends, this whole thing of friends. Are they the friends? Speaking of family and friends and relatives and whatnot, and loyalty, these friends that you might term as family members or family, whatever to you, are they providing solutions that you believe are beneficial, benevolent, or are they just is it a bunch of cuckoo, so this whole healing subject, this is a subject actually that breaks down a lot of topics, loyalty, family, and then of course it breaks down the whole we've touched on the grandmothers and grandfathers who just love their grandkids but couldn't care less about their kids. It's bullshit, and I don't think anybody deserves that. And of course it touches on, I think that's it everything is wrapped around narcissism. It goes deeper into narcissism. This is this ego, this useless, unchecked ego, nonsense, that this egocentrism, thinking that you just everything should be run by you, everything should be orchestrated, or like the world should revolve around you. That's how bad narcissism is. So a lot of people that raised us, and a lot of people that are raising kids right now, a lot of people that are unhealed and are doing all this healing, are finding out that they were either raised by a narcissist or they are narcissists themselves. And if you are a narcissist, or you just need to do something about that. If you were raised by a narcissist, then you just also need to do something about that, because you're unhealed so bad. There's a lot of things that you find normal that are absolutely not. Take it from me. And there is always rage bait with narcissism. There's always like women are, especially women, like they're always caught up in this cycle of narcissistic men. These are the ones that are going to control women's money. They're going to control the way a woman makes friends, that kind of stuff. They're going to control who they talk to. They're going to control what they wear, this and that. They're going to control their last word, where they go. There's a lot of things that you can break down for someone who's been in a narcissistic relationship, especially for a very long time, especially being oblivious about it. That's the very dangerous game, slippery slope. Once you start, you don't stop, breaking that down. But it's really so common, and it's really dangerous. And TikTok, actually, the platform is actually doing a nice job. Platforms, YouTube, whatnot, they're talking about it. They're breaking it down. The doctors are coming in, shrinks. They're providing a lot of information for free. A lot of very, very good information to people out there that are victims of this. Look it up, guys. Narcissism is a real thing. It's very dangerous, and it's very common in Africa. It brings in parentification as well. Parentification. This is where everything is all, again, still run by one person, or a few persons, in the family that they have people who do their bidding, this and that. They're gonna pick on somebody. They're gonna justify another thing, which is bad. So this is serious stuff. This is deleterious stuff. This is really toxic stuff. Deleterious, actually, that's the word. Perfect word for that. You don't want to be caught up in this kind of kerfuffle, this kind of nonsense, shall I say? You want to know exactly where you at with these kind of people. You want to know exactly how far do they go. Are they on medication? Do they need to be on medication? As soon as you know that you're dealing with a narcissist, as soon as you know that you're dealing with someone who's going to be so overly ruly, overly protective in a very weird way, you never win. They never. It's especially if you ever feel like you're with somebody who does not like to be held accountable, who does not say the word, "Oh, my bad," who does not genuinely ask, someone you tell that you hurt me. You did something here that hurt me. If you ever find yourself in a situation with that kind of person and is close to you, you tell them and express to them how much they have hurt you, shall I say, or how much uncomfortable they made you feel. And their response is not to apologize to you. If ever their response is not to apologize to you, start looking into them. Start dissecting them. Unpack their shit. Start digesting their shit. Everything they've said. They might be either narcissistic, or they might have narcissistic tendencies. That's another word. But what they're going to do is they're going to deplete your energy every time. Every time you come across them, they're going to take it. Those are called energy vampires, They're called energy vampires. They're very, very real, and they're very, very malicious, So be on the lookout for that, And when it comes to dating as well, it's gotten easier, but the easier it gets, the tougher it gets, So there's another thing there, because a lot of people come in with a lot of trauma, a lot of people coming with a lot of backgrounds, especially the one that is very, very sensitive and needs a lot of, you know, needs a lot of touching on is the religion part of it. You know, is people in their religions, there's a lot of unhealing going around. I think, like, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier. He had lost two of his people from his family or something recently, and I was telling him to first of all, I mean, people have to feel. You have to let them feel. You know, a lot of people do not know a lot of what another person might know. They don't know. They have not yet been on that level of comprehending or even, you know, understanding what next after life. What next when that heart stops breathing? What's next? Like, literally, a lot of people cannot fathom that. They think they're gonna go to there's gonna be chaos, there's gonna be judgment day, there's gonna be blah, then the heavens and this and that. Yeah, but this is just a small part of it that I'm trying to put up for people who try to overestimate death and just to make a big deal out of death. You know, if someone dies, I do believe and I do trust that it's okay for you to grieve. You know, somebody has left you. You're not gonna see them. You're not gonna see a text from them. You're not gonna. Maybe they had a family, and you know they were the provider, and there's gonna be a lot of problems for them. You know, reshuffling and whatnot. Yeah, you gotta feel empathy for that. But if you know what I know about death, and I'm sorry, I'll always hint at it. You know, I'll give people their space. I'll give people their empathy. I'll throw my 2 cents in of condolences. I'll play the part, you know, the community, whatever. But if we were to break this down and understand exactly, so now we're done crying, we're done moaning. Let's get to the science of this. Let's get to the whatever of this. We already know that the avatar is holding an energy that this energy, you know, it cannot be destroyed. So what's going on, you know? And you try to, because I tried to break it down for him. I tried to tell him, yeah, I get it, but you need to know that these people have left hell, because compared to where they're going, this was hell. I don't think they had all the money in the world to get everything they wanted. Maybe it would have made them happy. Some people think money is happiness. Maybe they were those types of people. I don't think they had all the money in the world, so maybe there was a little bit of struggling there. So I think they had a lot that they did not complete. Maybe they didn't have loved ones that reciprocated the love. Maybe they didn't have good relationships with their kids, you know. Maybe they had a lot of chronic pains that you did not know about. Maybe they are happy where they are. Maybe you are the one, you're crying for yourself because it is you that is actually in pain, you know. And rightly so, because that person is gone, you know, from your contact list. The number is there. It feels real, but they are gone. They've moved on. So it's okay to feel this pain. But once we're done feeling that pain, we now have to ask ourselves, what happens now? Uh, what happens when I die? Because I'm gonna die next. Because that right there is the question I need you to ask yourself. That's why a lot of people don't want to touch about it. I know a lot of religions because I've been in religions. I've been in the Islam religion. I've read the Quran. I lived in the Gulf for some time. I have been in the Catholics. I know a thing or two there. I almost finished my communion. I've been in the born again Christians. I know a thing or two there. I know how it's broken down. I find that they don't want to touch on this thing a lot. This thing scares them, and this is what the church and their religion has done to them. So if one person cannot understand the whole concept of energy and how it's transferred and all this stuff, and they're not touching about this stuff in church. I was, because what church was, and this is all part of healing, by the way, and these I'm talking about the very few things that are general, the very few things that are very big when it comes to the context of why are people unhealed. And remember, we postulated that unhealed is a person who is going to be timid, anxious, a person who's going to have to face situations where they have no idea how to get out of them. They have no idea why they're freezing. They have no idea why they are so scared. They have no idea that actually, you know what? They're strong enough to go and do the job interview and pass it and be very, very happy with their lives. Or maybe this is what maybe you were done this stuff growing up, and this is what's forcing you to be in this situation. For example, you were touched in the wrong place, you were done in something in the wrong time, maybe you were beat so bad, maybe you were sick and neglected, and now it's manifesting as an adult and it's really taking you apart. So it's causing a lot of depression in you, a lot of stress in you, and you really don't want to talk about it because not a lot of people are going to jump at the avenue of a therapist, So this is the bottom line of unhealed. We can break that down, but everybody has their own format of answering that question. What does unhealed look like? Unhealed, for me, also entails someone who cannot take accountability. Someone you're going to tell frankly that they hurt you, and they are going to not take that L, and on top of that, they're not going to take that L. On top of that, they're going to argue with you that they did not hurt you, or they're going to validate their stance by saying, well, what did you want me to do? That was the norm back then. Well, we had it tough as well. Well, we had no idea we were hurting you. We blah, 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 blah. It's always one thing after another. And all that person needs is, oh my God, is that how you felt? Can we talk about it? That is where you heal from. When you start expressing yourself, when you start feeling comfortable for these things to pour out, okay, it becomes play. It becomes law, because now you're just talking. Hey, they did this. Hey, I was molested at this age. Oh yeah, I remember that guy. Oh, this. Wait, what? Is that why you cannot go into a relationship and just stay in a relationship? And yeah, I can't, because I don't think I'm too good. I don't think I'm good enough for these relationships, because somehow my father molested me, my mom did this, my auntie did this, my uncle did that, blah 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 blah. This the maid did this, you know. So these things that you cannot talk about, they become free for you to talk about, and then that's how you start healing them, because you start crushing them, you start getting ahead of them. And this is why these DMT studies have helped a lot in bipolar disorders or even depression, because they're opening your brain to all these they're opening your brain to all these gateways, and a lot of information is coming in, and you're getting to see memories, and you get to relive things, and you get to meet these people that died, and then the story goes on and on and on, so or if you meditate, these things can be perceived when you meditate as well. But this is what we're talking about: transformation, healing, basically healing. So when you get ahead of all these things, like religion, we're talking about religion. Religion has put it so bad, like the word church, coming from Kirk, from the Scottish people, kirke or whatever. What church was it church. Here's the thing: when you had a lot of if you were farming corn and you had a harvest so big, and let's say 1,000 kilograms of corn you were able to harvest, and you sold about 60% of that, the 35% or the 40% you would take to a church. You know what I mean? You take to a church, not for them to give you money, but just for you to see if the church has anybody in their congregation that might have need of that. Now, if a church gets some sponsorships and they welcome things, everything, like, for example, a church, I would go to a church, like an African church, and I say, I'm giving you, let's say 1,000 diapers, and that's it. The church would then, set out an announcement: anybody who's in need of diapers, register here. We're gonna stop, five for each family and all that stuff. That's what a church was supposed to do. That is what a church is. Currently, that's not what a church is. Mega churches, I don't even want to go into this, but mega churches, and this is just born again, but I can break down most of these religions, and even the peace rate in Islam, and most of these churches, they have done away with that. They want money. So they can't account for that money. You're not gonna have. I'm not gonna give you like $1,000 and you start saying, "Hey, who's in need of diapers? Let's give you $100 here. Let's give this one $100. They don't do that. They instead use this, for their jets, for the first class trips, they're moving about with their entourages and doing this and that. They give back to themselves and not to the people, because now it's money, and money is just the root of all evil. By the way, they say that, but why is it the first thing that they like? The number one thing that they never say no to is money, and yet they know it's the root of all evil. So who oh God, this is what they call cognitive dissonance, going around, and majority of these Christians or these Catholics, whatever, these religious people, is the Dunning-Kruger effect, where they don't feel like they don't know. They do not know, but they do not know that they do not know. That in itself, that right there, is very threatening right there. Be real with you. It's very threatening to have that effect where you feel like you do not know, and you don't know that you don't know. So this is why we talk. This is why the last episode we talked about was calling out all the people who are chosen. And guess what? The people who are chosen are you and I. You and I. That's why we make these videos. We do not tag them. No, we don't. This what we're talking about here, and you'll see a lot of podcasts like this come out if they haven't already. It's a thing now, because now everybody wants to talk about this. Now everybody wants to know more about this. Now everybody wants to invite someone who is going to use their platform to teach people about this. People are advocating for this. People are seeing exactly what's going on. The other time, recently, the Pope himself talked about how hell does not exist. Now, if you have had a platform all your life, the platform is Christianity, heaven and hell. And hell was the place that people go that die, that have sins, and die and go there and be burned to fucking eternal life. Lie, lie after lie. And then that was the platform they started on with. And then from nowhere, shocker, there exists no hell. So now your congregation, your followers are in limbo. Now they are going to wonder, wait, but the gurus said this some 500,000, 7,000 years ago. They did actually say there was no hell. This is everything that you want, you can sit and get in meditation. You literally can't leave your body, because your body was never yours to begin with. You're going to leave it on some zip code somewhere. You're going to leave it in Nebraska. You're going to leave it in Singapore, Vietnam. You're going to leave it in Uganda. You're going to leave it in freaking, I don't know, the Congo. You're literally going to leave it somewhere, your avatar. So the one thing that you're going to travel with, the one thing that is you, that goes through all these dimensions, is literally the energy in you. And the energy in you cannot be created. It cannot be destroyed, not even with 10,000 nuclears. So then again, I ask you, where is hell in this play? If that exists, someone might be lying. So who's lying? Who's fooling who? Well, the Catholics came on and said that, we're not going to be fooled anymore. We're not going to fool these people. These people are young. This is not the boomers we're teaching to. These are not the people internet times. These are people who are smart. These are people who are communicating. These are people who are, somebody in Brisbane is literally communicating and telling the world about how things are, and this other person is in you know Papua Guinea, or someone in this in Suleiman, is Suriname is communicating with somebody in, let's say, Togo. You see how the world is connected. You see how we know things. I always tell you that internet or YouTube or TikTok, whichever platform, these companies or these, they have not done justice. They have not done any justices to their government. And that is why the governments are trying so hard to get rid of them. They are doing so bad with the government. They are waking people up, Recently, Americans just found out that their foreign policy is down the gutter. They just found out that, literally they have so many bases most Americans didn't even know existed. The American the American country has so many foreign bases. It's a joke. Like, why? The Americans are asking. They didn't even know this, but this is now not news anymore. So I guess you can see what we're talking about. We are breaking down this, and this kind of information is not going to be suppressed. It is going to go and go and go and go on and go on and go on, because why not? Why not? We need more of this, less of Hollywood and all that brainwashing nonsense. If something happens that is really, really genuine, you never see it on these over sensationalizing media outbreaks. I don't like to break them down, but you know them, the ones that are always lying their teeth out and trying to spread fear and whatnot and all this nonsense. For instance, what is unhealed is this war that's happening in Russia and with Russia and Ukraine. Everybody is saying it's unprovoked. That is a lie. You cannot say it's unprovoked when all the evidence is showing that it's provoked. Literally, NATO was there to combat Russia. You can go fact check that, and it's a whole story. It's a whole another story, but that we can dive into. But it's really, it's not unprovoked. That's a lie. So that's unhealed right there. We should not entertain that anymore. We should normalize. We should normalize the fact that, especially the people that are doing the healing part, we should normalize the fact that we encountered whatever mishaps we encountered to begin with in this reality, as kids, and whatever we're going through, with work and our leaders and whatnot, this and that, the fears of global warming, all this and that, economies and whatnot, nuclear war. Because the people who are not healed are susceptible to mess up. You're going to be anxious, just as people say. A person who is able to speak up and who is able to let themselves feel angry towards something and not hold it in is very less likely to be anxious. And if you look around it, some studies have noticed it, that the people who are normally anxious about a lot of things are the people who are not going to speak up when they're hurt, or when they're in a situation that is very uncomfortable for them, or is very tricky for them. For instance, having your kids step all over you, and being unruly, all that shit, and you can't talk back at them, so you get that anxiety, as a parent. And it's normally in I'll say mothers who were still like with their one kid, not really had a lot of experience in parenting, but it gets easier. It does help though, if you're healing or you're on a healing path. You see things different. There's like a lot of things, like like talking is very, very, very helpful, especially when you talk to a kid. Try to break down why they had a meltdown, why this and this happened, why probably they might not want to eat this meal over the other. You get to understand their perspective. You get to give them that part that will eventually associate, and they will respect you for that. They will remember that stuff because it made them feel great. Believe it or not, I still think, unless you're traumatized so deep, I still think that a lot of people have those good memories when they were young because they were good memories. That's why they stayed plastered there. That's why they are vivid, so vivid, because they were good memories. And then there is those that are very traumatic that you can never erase as well. So you see how that works. You see how the yin yang works. So that's how it works. The end of the day, though, we need to address this. We need to address the societal and the cultural issues that are going around with the world. And you need to keep in mind that not everybody is going to be happy for your change. You're going to lose a lot of people your way. You're going to demand a lot of respect. If this is the beautiful thing about healing, the people that are going to stay in your life are going to be genuine. They are going to be able to take those, they will talk to you in a very calm way, because now they get you, because now they see you are in a different path. But there is there's a very, very high chance that you're going to lose more people than you're going to gain on your way to healing. You are going to demand so much from yourself. Your standards are going to go high. They're going to be up to the roof. And the reason why most people will not be happy for your change is simply because your change will remind them that they are not changing, that they are still stagnant. And if they find that out, which I'm pretty sure most do, because of the way you might talk and this and that, they might hate you. Scratch that, they will hate you, but subconsciously, they might not want to, they might not even know that they're hating you, but they will hate your guts. Oh, every time he comes around, every time he texts me, every time he does this, I just don't get it. It's something about, I get anxiety. Yes, it's because that person is on the path of changing. That person is on the path of actually dropping you, because your ass is lagging. Your ass is just waiting for that ladder, and this person is trying to pull that ladder up and put it on another step so they can step up and go farther, but you waiting for somebody to pull you up. You know what I mean? So why don't you do the pulling as well? You know, your friend is pulling you up, and I know you might be stuck there. You might be stuck in whatever kind of turmoil that you're in because of a relationship, because of a job, because of some kind of something in your livelihood. But it is what it is. You know, you lose some, you win some. Unfortunately or fortunately, and it is what it is. Honestly, I have nothing to say. If you're going to drop everybody, drop everybody. You know, these the worst kinds are the people pleasers, trying to please people. These are the worst kinds of people right here. You know, they are. People pleasers are going to deplete you a lot. People pleasers are going to be the people that are going to want to please both sides. You know, that leaves ambiguity. That you don't know where they are. Can I trust them, or is it about they're going to choose a side whenever it suits them? So you got to be careful with those people. In my opinion, I always call them out, and I always have a go with them, and they always never respond, because now they are so unhealed because they don't want to take accountability, because I hit the nerve. And it's really, really, really important for you to understand that you gotta learn to cut people off. You gotta normalize telling people to go away. You've got to know that there can only be you and you only. Right now, what you're doing is you, and you. Do not bring kids into thinking that kids are you. That's the biggest lie that parents tell themselves. Oh, my kids are me. Oh, I tell you right now, most of the actually majority of the near death, the NDEs, near death experiences that I see when people try leave their bodies because maybe their body is dead before they come back. Most of them don't even, like, for instance, they never, when they're dead and they see whatever is going on, they live in their body, this and that and whatever, they could not care less about their kids until something hits back and they are reminded, oh shit, you got some kids, and you gotta go back. Maybe, you know, those kids need to grow up with you, and this is gonna happen if they don't. So it goes to show you that you came here to serve some kind of purpose, some kind of lesson, to learn some kind of lesson. However, that's just about it. It's on your terms. You can either choose to go back or not, and move on to other reincarnations or whatever, you know. So from learning these initial things, literally learning from the time you start to cry, from this, you get out of your mother's womb and all that, the hospital, from that time, you know, you register, and you know, you are this person. You've come to serve your purpose. You've come to serve your incarnation. You've come to learn something. You've come to pick up a thing or two. And sometimes it's going to be through suffering, you know, through some pain, through some, you know, sometimes you're going to learn in a good way, you know, by reading a book, enjoyment and whatnot. Most times you're going to feel the burn, you know, by touching fire, you know, all that kind of stuff is going to be into the play. So that's the takeaway of all this. And we're still talking about unhealed. We can go all day. I can literally make another, because this is a very, very sensitive topic. Like, I barely have scratched the surface. I've only talked about narcissism and grandparents that were born in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and them being unhealed, so unhealed that they cannot be held accountable for anything bad. Nothing bad they did, these parents, these grandparents. So that is the number one problem right there. If someone is telling you that they did nothing wrong, if you ever feel like you were depressed when your parents, your family members, a friend of yours calls and you feel like, oh, it's not the energy I'm feeling right now, you need to understand why you're feeling that energy, why it's off, and try to rectify that. Some of the avenues you can take are ask them, where do you stand on these topics that I am picking up on? Where do you stand on my therapy? Where do you stand on this that was done to me? See where they stand. These people that think that they love you, that they want the best for you. If you have a husband, if you have a wife, and you feel like you need a lot to let go off of your chest, to bridge, to bridge the gap or something, you need to ask these open-ended questions. And if they come up short, especially these friends that you go around calling friends, oh, friend. Yeah, are they really friends? Are they really friends? You can put them to a test. I got a lot of questions that you can ask your friends. See if they're really friends of yours. Some of them can be, you hurt me last time. See their response. Is it a response of, are they defecting? Are they trying to be elusive? Are they are they the kind of auspicious person in your life? Someone is going to bring results. Someone you're going to have in your life, and things will just move freely. A text will move freely, a conversation will move freely. Are these the kind of people that are going to be open to the kind of conversations that you find refreshing? Everybody has them. Those conversations that are so deep, and you would want somebody to meet you halfway. Are they the kind of people that are going to be receptive to this, kind of data? Well, if not, then I think you are wasting your time. You are wasting your time. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. If you really are looking for somebody who sugarcoats that, you can find somebody else. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. Those are not your friends. Those are people who are feelers. Those are monitoring spirits. They're just there filling a spot for somebody who is supposed to be there and protect you and guide you and show you support. You know what I mean? If it's not somebody physical in the physical realm, it could be in the astral realm. It could be someone that you need to meet in your meditation, in your DMT experiences, in your LSD experiences, all that, in your marijuana, cannabis experiences, whatever. All these things that I've talked about, these are avenues that I truly believe in. There's no need for them to be illegal, nothing, purely entertainment stuff, but I truly believe in this. And I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people who are advocating for this that have so much education. Karimolis, the PCR that splices and studies DNA and all that stuff. Carl Sagan with his marijuana. Now, Carl Sagan is the person who wrote out a message that was sent from Earth to be delivered and intercepted by any alien life force out there. These are people who used cannabis and LSD is really awesome as well. You know, I think it should be in a controlled substance. In a controlled environment. All these things are awesome. They can alter your states of consciousness, and you can see a lot of what I'm talking about is real. And a lot of people have healed a lot of trauma via. There's a lot of studies. I can't even just start throwing them over there. You know, like you just need to go and do the work, because it's not going to be about me talking only. No, you got to go and do the work. It's going to be so important for you to look up DMT and how it has helped with bipolar, how it has helped with depression, and how it's helping people heal chronic diseases, and how it's empowering people. It's giving the power back to the people. You know, it's taking you to these realms that you could only imagine, you know. And I do believe that, you know, we will love ourselves more once we get to this what it's called once we get to this level of loving ourselves, we will have less of, you know, these prevalent rape cases, kidnapping cases, less of this, you know, this, like, whatever is going around with the, is it Puff Daddy? If we loved ourselves, we'll have less of that. That's nonsense, really, you know. That's just detractors trying to get us away from the path of evolving spiritually. And, you know, there is a lot of those that we need to be aware of. There will be many of those sent our way. We just need to focus. We just need to forego a majority of this nonsense that we see on TV, you know. We need to love ourselves, you know. We're seeing a lot of, you can call them celebrities. They have all the money in the world, but they're not happy because they don't love themselves, because they love their careers more. And if anything happens to their careers, blah, 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 something happens. That's why they are forced to keep up appearances, doing stuff that they don't want to do, being where they don't want to be, saying things they don't actually believe in. And sometimes when they say things that they do believe in, then they're faced with the cancel culture. I think you've all heard of the cancel culture. It's actually a thing, you know. So, you know, like a lot of celebrities I know that have left acting, if they were actors, because of a thing or two they said, and, you know, they were cancelled and whatnot. So, but hey, we're just here for entertainment only. We just are bored. And the world seems to become interesting more and more. We see UFOs here left and right. We're hearing about armadas coming. There's a fleet of alien sheep. I don't know if that's just true. I don't know. But you should be healed or transformed to an extent that should not even bother you whatsoever. You should be so healed that the mere mention of death should put a smile on your face. If death does not put a smile on your face, especially what this world has gone to, we've tried so hard. People have tried so hard to be good. You know, there's a lot of people doing good than bad. It's just that there are those really bad things that are done once and just mess up the whole world. Like, with the health department, the greed, maliciousness, all these wars and this and whatnot. There is so much good in the world, but it's overshadowed by these very tiny bad things that are so over sensationalized about. Like they are given such a huge platform, and that for me is what needs to reform. That's something that we need to touch more on, but hey, I mean, if you want to change the world, you just start with yourself. You just start with making your bed every morning, because once again, everything is made of energy, and just as you don't want to do laundry and just get your clothes and just not fold them and put them away in a very pleasing way for you to wear them the next day. You just don't want to go in a bed that's not made with good sheets and all that. So the best thing you can do, and there's a soldier general that said this to a graduating class. He told them the best thing you can do is to save the world is to wake up every morning and make your bed. It shows a lot of responsibility, and also I still believe that the best thing a citizen can do for their country is, on top of making their bed every morning, is to read a book. Just pick up a book that's one of those very good books that's bestsellers on any topic, any topic that's really calling to you, and try to learn a thing or two. History is always awesome. Mathematics, physics, all that good stuff. Some esoteric stuff, some scriptures. If you're a Christian, you can go read and find out, for crying out loud. At least Christians should go find out where Jesus Christ was before the age of 30. Was he married? Did he have kids? Did he all this? Where did he go? Where did he learn? Who did he meet? At least you should know this stuff, because I've read into it and it's really intriguing, But I just don't want to ruin it for you. It's really, really important stuff. I mean, feel free to ask the questions that you can. But that's about it. We can go more in details of this. But I'm going to stop here for now. Okay. It's been a long one. We'll make it longer next time. It's been a pleasure catching up with everyone. This is the kind of stuff that you need to listen to, and your response is the kind of stuff that I need to read. so that we can learn a thing or two about each other. That's what we have. Stay true to yourselves and love one another. It's the best. The best thing you can do for the world. Give some water to the plants. They appreciate that. Take care. Till next time.